Thank you, Mr. President. President and Senators, I stand here today blessed because it truly is an honour to speak in this chamber in this moment of history, to serve my nation in the federal parliament and to represent the views and attitudes of the great people of Western Australia is indeed a privilege and one that I'm looking forward to serving to the utmost. I'd like to begin by thanking Senator Hanson, leader of Pauline Hanson's One Nation, who, through her courage, persistence and strength of character, has brought about a significant and better change in Australian politics. Senator Hanson's popular appeal to mainstream Australians is the reason why there are now 4 senators in this chamber representing 3 states flying the flag for One Nation. I am proud to have joined this chamber with my party leader and fellow party senators Brian Burston and Malcolm Roberts. I would also like to acknowledge and pay tribute to my parents who raised me and sheltered me with good old-fashioned values. Despite the rumours, I was not born in Athens, Greece, but in Perth, Western Australia, on January the 13th, 1974, to Greek migrants Demetrius and Margarita Georgiou. It is well known that Greece is the birthplace of democracy and has laid the foundation for modern civilisation. As a loyal West Australian and patriotic West Australian, I shall always be proud of my Greek heritage. Like many new Australians of the day, my father flew here in the early 70s, leaving behind a wife and 2 young daughters in Athens to try and build a better life in this new land of opportunity. Shortly after arriving in Western Australia, my father started working in WA's northwest, namely Dampier and Port Hedland. His knowledge of the English language was limited, but he quickly took steps to improve his English by purchasing a record player and a set of How to Learn English records. Living more than 12,000 kilometres from his family, that bit of audio kept him company night after night. My father would not see my mother and my sisters for another 2 years, while he worked under a scorching northwest sun as an electrician on the iron ore mines. However, by then he had saved enough money to bring out his family and start living the great Australian dream. That dream, of course, was buying your own home. For my parents, Australia was the land of opportunity, one where they could raise a family, especially after experiencing life under a military junta for several years in Greece. When my mother and sisters moved to Australia to join my father, I was born soon after, and my younger brother, Michael, 22 months later. That hard work ethic employed in my parents was instilled in me from a young age, which I copied as best I could. As a result, after starting out as an apprentice electrician, I was able to build a successful small business called Georgiou Electrical Services. I thought I'd put that in as a free plug. Which employed apprentices and tradesmen along the way, doing my bit for the state and its economy. I accomplished this by working 7 days a week, many times 12 hours a day, to build a successful business and at the same time develop a strong relationship with my clients. I am happy to say, 17 years on, these clients still remain loyal to my business. I've worked hard and I've been able to reap the rewards as well. For me, that's what being Australian means: working hard, having a fair go and paving the way for other people to have a fair go. As a proud West Australian, it will be my mission to wave WA's flag at every possible opportunity, to make sure my constituents are never forgotten by the federal government. My mission in politics will include a strong push for a better GST deal for Western Australia, making sure multinational companies pay their due taxes, keeping the banks honest and push for a Royal Commission or an independent tribunal to help compensate victims who have been dealt harshly by the banks, a push for more apprenticeships and traineeships, helping keep down the cost of living for all Australian families, cutting red tape for small business, stamping out political corruption in all its forms, tackling antisocial behaviour and relieving welfare dependency. As you may have noted, my theme is about jobs and security. I want to ensure all Australians, first and foremost, are given the opportunity to fulfil their dreams, just like this great country of ours has given me. For the past 10 years, WA has been getting ripped off to the point it now only gets 34 cents in the dollar as part of its GST distribution. In simple terms, Western Australia only gets $878 per capita from GST distribution. The average is $2,500. Now, we all agree that this is not fair. Today, I am calling on the federal government to abolish horizontal fiscal equalisation, which is the formula used to calculate the GST. It's out of date and irrelevant. The GST pool should provide each state with not less than 70% of its proportionate share of GST. When it comes to oil giants paying their fair share of tax, the Commonwealth is letting us down. Some oil giants working off Australia's northwest coast are avoiding paying the government billions of dollars because of another outdated, irrelevant law. In my 160 days in Australian politics, which isn't much, I have been inundated by scores of farmers and small businesses who have been telling me very similar stories. They've been squeezed out of their livelihood and finding it hard to make a living. The Select Committee on Lending to Primary Production Customers, chaired by my colleague Malcolm Roberts, has been told many stories of growers across the land who've lost their livelihood due to heavy-handed approaches from the banks. Last week I attended one of these hearings in Sydney and I was shocked at what I heard. Today I want to tell these banks the days of being the bully are over. The days of calling the shots and ruining the lives of ordinary, hard-working Australians are numbered. Australia needs a strong banking sector, but being strong also means being trustworthy. Banks were supposed to partner with their customers to increase business productivity, and in return, the customers pay money to their banking partner. But what we have now is banks taking the money from the customers by unethical means, leaving the customers destitute. The banks are making money at the expense of productive sectors of the economy. This is simply immoral. What does Australia do about executive-level corporate misconduct? Do we close our eyes and pretend it doesn't exist and leave these executives in these positions to continue to harm Australians, or do we hold them accountable? It is not the Banking Royal Commission that will harm Australia's reputation. It is the failure not to call a Banking Royal Commission that will harm Australia's reputation. We can't afford to continue cover-ups and misconduct by the bankers. It is only once these executives face the law that confidence will return back to the financial sector. My business has been operating for the past 17 years. I've experienced at first hand the problems which face all small businesses. One reason I am proud of my business is that we always understood the importance of apprenticeships. Apprenticeships uniquely provide opportunities for young people to get a start in life, to combine academic work and practical on-the-job training, to become professionally qualified, to start their own business if they wish, and to contribute to the prosperity of our state and nation. The great success of mining in Western Australia has been facilitated in a major way by experts in a wide range of trades which began their careers as apprentices. I encourage senators to accept that whatever the task, it is always preferable to engage the services of a highly trained Australian rather than come up with a formula for bringing into this country guest workers because we lack trained Australians.